Wow. Wow. How about that game? Obviously I'm coming to you live. It's Sunday night. Just watched Alabama tie that game at the end with the monster three, and then end up losing it in overtime. I guess it maybe the lesson from tonight is you can't miss those free throws. You can't miss those layups. You can't shoot 50% or less from the free throw line and expect to win a game like that. But what a game! What a game! Hey, just real quick, I promised you tonight that I'd kind of walk through tonight I'd walk you through kind of the Pizza Hut scenario, the 20-minute deal that Brian Clark and I had the opportunity to present, I guess 6 years ago now, maybe just pressing up on 6 years. But first off, I want to thank everybody that participated and sent their videos in their presentations and kind of their scenarios on how they would approach this. Probably 30 some responses. I'll chop those up and split those up between our commercial region sales managers tomorrow or Tuesday, and have them come back in with kind of maybe I'll give them each 5 or 6 apiece, and they'll come back in with with an idea of who the best one in their group was, and then collectively the 6 or 7 of us will decide who the winner was. So hang in there. The prizes, we'll probably get that all figured out and all worked out by Wednesday or so. But getting back to the scenario, I just wanted to just kind of summarize a little bit, and then I'm going to move to a short deck to give you an idea of the actual deck that we presented back then, and share with you how that all took place. But once again, Brian Clark is an account manager out of Akron, Ohio. I've worked with Brian for years. In fact, when I got promoted to the sales manager role in Ohio back in 1997, Brian was one of the guys that came in and took my place in the branch as a salesperson. So I've known him for a very, very long time. We communicate all the time, and I'm just tickled to death with his progress and his performance over his years here. Obviously, a Chairman's Club winner, the last couple of years, and off to another great start. So I guess let me jump into the deck and kind of lay up. I'm going to share my screen here and jump into the deck. I'm shooting this on Teams to just use another avenue of how you can record videos for your clients and your customers. You can shoot all this stuff on Teams and then send it to them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to link it up and send it to you when I'm done with it. So you can look forward to that coming at you. So you're watching this as a recording, and I'm talking to you like you're live. What is wrong with me? But let me share this screen for you and give you an idea of where we're going here. I'm going to jump up in here and just bear with me and share the screen. Once again, here was the scenario, just wrapping it up for you. This is Brian. Brian sent me 3 text messages. This is the first one I got. Spoke to his contact at Pizza Hut. She said there will be about 20 folks at the meeting, and they're giving us 20 minutes to speak. She's trying to get me a spreadsheet of who services what locations. Primarily, they're serviced all by Ecolab when we get there and find out. At this point in time, we don't have any of the business. We are scrambling to get some. And Brian has been persistent in his approach. He's even changed a couple of points of contact over the years, and he's been trying to get into this group. This group in smack dab in the middle of his territory. So there was a change. This gal was a little bit more open than the previous gals, so we were able to get in front of them, and this is what we got. Keep it simple. Let them know what you do different. There's Brian's line. That's what I've been selling for years. But again, when I find out more info, I'll get it to you later. Or I'll get it to you, and he says later. All we need is a flash drive for the PowerPoint. The audience is going to be attending was going to be 10 district managers, a couple operation managers, some of their auditing folks, their marketing folks, and of course their president. So see you soon. And then I don't know if it was the next day or what, but he set it up that it was a working lunch. So that was kind of the scenario that I put in front of you, and what would you do? And I'll just kind of walk you through what we did. And a lot of it comes down to this. It's the homework that we did, the preparation that we did to get ready for this call. And I'll just click through a couple of them. We identified their turf, by going to their website, and finding on their on their kind of their company story page a bunch of this kind of information. They had 128 locations in Ohio, 9 in West Virginia, and what is it, 4 in Pennsylvania and 1 in Indiana. So kind of fits right into our turf. Pretty good fit for us, makes sense. We've got service locations, so we're able to do that and handle that. So that's the first thing we kind of focused in on, is where their locations were. This becomes a bit of a personal challenge that you'll see when we get to the slides. Halrick proudly supports the National Reading Program Book It. The president, I'm not even going to take a shot at pronouncing his name. He likes to reflect on the families whose lives have been touched by Howrick. So you'll see how we start to storytell, or I guess I start to storytell with those two facts when we get into the presentation. Howrick recognizes that people are their greatest asset, and their commitment and their quality and their exceptional service are the recipes for success. I told Brian going in, if we could not get them to say that, why they separate themselves as a pizza player in the market, that if they wouldn't tell us it was their people or the process or their quality, then we were sunk, and we weren't get any farther than he got in the last 4 years. After that, on that website, we were able to link up and find all the district managers' names and the locations that they supported. Vital information that you can find on most of these customers. And again, I will beg you to research these appointments that you get and do all the digging that you can. And quite frankly, one of the next things that I did and Brian did, we split the group of DMs up, and we absolutely stalked them on LinkedIn and Twitter to see what little edges, what little kind of common grounds we could find with them. And then I found out that as I was kind of chasing down this Akron area DM for Howrick, he was all over social media from a Pirates game, a Pittsburgh Pirates game, living in Akron, and just kind of unique that we take a shot at him in the presentation meeting. So it's pretty cool. We actually caught him beforehand, and then we'd known that Ecolab was their incumbent for years, and that a big point with Ecolab and the deal that you get with Rentokil and those kind of folks where they're doing these auditing procedures. Pizza Hut was allowing Ecolab to do the service, and EcoSure was doing their food safety audits, kind of, in my opinion, kind of the fox guard and the hen house. So that was the work that was done beforehand. Probably a couple of weeks of just kind of grinding and just trying to find out anything we could about it and kind of putting our strategy together. So what I'll do now is I'm not going to actually go through the whole role play, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump into the actual presentation that we use. These are the actual slides that Brian and I put together. So we opened up with this slide and just did a brief introduction. So when the lights came on, obviously they were eating lunch. The district managers were kind of sitting around a big U-shaped meeting room table. The 12 or so of them with a handful of other folks. The big cheeses were sitting in the back row, kind of like an Orkin meeting, quite frankly. And so when we kicked on the camera, when we kicked off the meeting, literally they had just served lunch. I don't even remember what it was, but it wasn't pizza, so I was kind of confused. I don't know if it was chicken or what it was, but we didn't have to buy lunch. A bunch of you came in and said you'd bring in lunch and all that kind of thing. We didn't do that. Didn't have to do that. We showed up to tell our story and introduced myself as the VP of Sales at Orkin, and that I had been born and raised in Northeast Ohio. Resident of Youngstown for the last 57 years before I got dragged kicking and screaming to Atlanta to take on this new role. And that all of my business career, 30 plus years had been with Orkin. I introduced Brian as the account manager that was responsible for the area and responsible for the account. And again, Brian with his 20 plus years experience. So that was really all we kind of teed up, and then we just moved into the deck. So basically what I said, without further ado, we're going to move into the deck. And this is the very first slide that I put up. And I just told him, I said, irregardless, our job here today, Brian and I's job today is to convince you guys and you gals to give us a chance. We think we got a pretty good offer. We think we got great service. We think we can help you. We think we can fill gaps that you may be having now. But even if we don't get that opportunity to serve some of your restaurants, I wanted to take this opportunity personally myself to share my gratitude and my thanks for what the Howrick team has done for my family personally. You guys are all familiar with the Book It program. My kids became incredible readers because of the Book It program that they ran at St. Charles Grade School. They couldn't wait to read all their books so they get their free little pan pizza. They even got to tour the Pizza Hut out on 224, as ones that had made it through the Book It program. So again, from a guy who can hardly read a book, my kids are incredible readers, and today they're all college graduates. And I'm not saying that you all did it, but that Book It program was something really, really, truly special for them, and they got excited about. The next, if you don't recognize that I guess that little icon there in the middle, that's the Boardman Spartan Band. And the Boardman Spartan Band members used to go around town. We lived in Boardman on the south side of Youngstown, and the Boardman Band members used to go around town selling Pizza Hut cards. And basically, with the Pizza Hut card, you could it was kind of a buy one get one free. I don't remember if it was a buy a large and get a medium free, but there was a program that was involved that if you bought the card for $25, you could get one crazy good discount, almost get a free pizza every time you bought it. And I have to tell you, from a guy who raised 4 kids, kind of making ends meet as we went along with 4 children, trying to feed them. I can promise you that what you folks did with the Boardman Band and what you did allowing us to get pizzas, at a pretty good steep discounted rate, afforded a chance for a guy that was just kind of scratching by, a family scratching by, trying to take care of their 4 kids to give them pizza as celebrations. And I promise you, we probably did it once a week at least. So again, just a big thanks there. And kind of the real nuance and the real funny thing about that is, I'm a graduate of Youngstown Cardinal Mooney, and the Boardman Band, or the Boardman football team, is our #1 rival. And I still bought that Boardman Band card every year to buy the pizzas. So again, from the book it to that, and then before I came down here last night, I was kind of going over these slides, talking to my kids. We were up we got a little lake cottage that we spend some time at up in the summer up on Lake Erie in Madison. So last night, I bought Madison. I bought Pizza Hut from Madison, and here's my receipt. So I showed him the receipt, and then at the same time, sitting around with my kids talking about where I was going today, I explained to him we were going into Pizza Hut, and my son, who's college graduate in his 30s, he said to me, Dad, make sure you tell him about the Ninja Turtles and how cool it was when they sponsored the Ninja Turtles. So again, if we do business or not moving forward, I just want to take this opportunity. I feel great already being able to personally thank you for what you've done to assist young families and young folks. So my hat's off to you. We should probably start talking about business. So let's do some of that. Gonna let this side play out, and then I've got some questions for you. Okay. I mentioned earlier that I moved to Atlanta a few years ago, and I am still on the hunt for even a halfway decent pizza. Let me tell you, they can't make any pizza down in Atlanta. So we end up at the Pizza Hut in Atlanta because we haven't found a pizza place. But in my opinion, Northeast Ohio is probably, I don't know, maybe it is for you guys. You guys can tell me more, but I think it's one of the most, I think it's the greatest pizza area on the planet. And we always Jones for coming home to get our Youngstown pizza, as we call it, and haven't found anything that even comes close down Atlanta. But I got some questions for you. I'm really curious how you guys and gals survive and you prosper in what I believe to be the most competitive pizza arena on the planet. And I would love to hear some feedback from you. So we'll just kind of go around the room and kind of let me know what you think separates you and allows you to win in these markets as you're winning. I mean, it's crazy. It's the story that you read when you go out and you spend a little bit of time on your website, how successful you've been. And I'd just like to ask you, maybe just go around the room, kind of take a round robin. Maybe we'll get to everybody, maybe we won't. Okay, so at that point in time, just take a break out of this, I went around the room and I was looking for somebody to say it's our people, it's our processes, and it's our quality assurance that makes us win. So, and again, as I said earlier, I told Brian, if they don't say something along those lines, we're toast. We might as well pack up our stuff and leave right now. But eventually we got there. Like one of the first people I asked for some feedback, and just went around the room and just asked them, hey, what do you think? What do you think? Very, very nonchalant, very conversational, and probably got to 10 or 12 of them. And the first 1 or 2 kind of gave me the answer that we were looking for, enough seed to be able to go out and chase down how we could position what we do. So once we got that, kind of went through it. Appreciate that. That's that's not a whole lot different than our story, is what I told them. And then I moved to the next slide. I said, one of the unique things that Orkin offers you is something very unique in your footprint. We offer 7 brick and mortar service locations for us to run our technicians out of. We have 7 branch offices. which means we have 7 branch or operations managers in charge with service managers, either 1 or 2 in each one of those branches to support those. And while a lot of folks think as Orkin as being this big national company, what it really comes down to is we have 164 local employees that live in the Howard Foods Pizza Hut franchise turf. So first and foremost, that's kind of how we operate. That's kind of how we support. It's different than anybody else that you're dealing with or have dealt with in the past. We've got a situation to where we can cover you. We've got the depth. We've got the latitude. We've got the support there for you to be able to deliver any one of 164 employees. You know, in the unlikely event that something goes wrong, we got a cavalry, we've got an army behind us to come in there and help you. Obviously, all the national support. You know, I'll be sitting down in Atlanta making sure we're taking care of you. But at the same time, you've got all that horsepower at our availability and able to help you. So that's the first thing. And what I'd like to do now is just take it even a little bit deeper and talk about John's turf. You know, I still can't understand how John can run the Akron market and be a Pirates fan. And at that point, John had no idea that I was going to tee that up on him. So we played that out. So I said, let's take a look at John's footprint and the 8 locations that he has. And these 8 locations would all be serviced out of our Akron, Ohio branch, which is Brian's home branch. That's where he spends most of his time. But I won't go through all of the folks. But again, the same scenario kind of plays out there. Their boss, their manager, Jay Fusco, has over 32 years of experience. Their 2 service managers combined have 40 years of experience. Tim Lamont, the guy that would be doing the stores in Warren and Boardman, has been with us for 28 years. Chris Conley, 30 years of tenure. So you've got all this horsepower and all this knowledge that's right in your backyard. And again, it just backed up by on and on. Even the folks, our office managers and our admins back in the office, you know, just great tenure in the branch. And you find that all the way across Orkin. When people come to work here, they tend to hang on. So again, just not only that whole footprint support, but you'll find identical stories across the board for your locations. You know, with the branches, one of the 7 branches that would support the footprint for Howrig. So again, from 168 employees to, you know, a couple dozen there in the Akron office that are there to help you. So again, national company, but really driving it local with some great tenure and some great experience. Just a couple things you might not know about Orkin. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on a commercial. You guys kind of have a familiarity with who we are. You've not chosen to do business with us for whatever reason. That's kind of why Brian and I are here. You didn't call us in a panic because your current vendor has fallen down. But we think we've got some opportunities and something we can share with you that will make some sense to give us a try. A lot of folks never realize this when I get in and get a chance to chat with them. We are North America's largest commercial pest control provider. That gets mixed up, you know, that gets confused sometimes because, you know, we do such a great job residentially and we do such a great job with our commercials about, you know, we take care of homes. We don't spend a lot of money, you know, advertising commercially. So oftentimes when people hear that, maybe you're like that. Maybe you didn't realize that we did commercial as much as we do, but nobody does more of it in North America than Orkin does. So we've got that experience. We are one of 5 approved Yum vendors. You know, we have to hold to the Yum scope that you're so familiar with. Your current vendor, your current pest control provider is a Yum vendor. There's 5 of them that are out there. Everybody's price is pretty much close or the same. And you can choose any one of them, any one of the Yum providers. You know, we service the largest Pizza Hut franchisee in the country, and NPC, and some of you guys may be familiar with them. We do over 1,500 Pizza Hut locations across the country already. We just don't do any Howrigs yet, and boy, we'd sure love to get that chance. You know, obviously you're familiar with, and we're certainly familiar with the scope of service, you know, that Yum drives down through your operations and your organizations, and we will certainly adhere to that. One other thing that makes us a little bit different, I think, we're not in the auditing business. We feel that, you know, we could certainly stand up an auditing arm like some of our competitors have done, you know, in the past, and some currently still do. But we don't think that the fox guarding the hen house is a great idea. And if the auditor is coming in and checking the work of the pest control guy, and they're from the same company, or at least they have some kind of connection, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to us. So we kind of, for lack of a better word, we stick to our knitting. We stick to what we do well and do best. And we're not worried about temperatures of foods and things like that. Obviously, we've got some awareness of that, but that's not our major goal. Our major goal is protecting you against pests and vermin and the rodents and the critters that'll get in and mess up with your guests. The state-of-the-art web-based reporting, e-alerts, escalations, all the way through the hierarchy. You folks sitting in here as district managers will have at the touch of a couple of buttons on your computer, will have an insight and a look into every one of your locations. And the folks at the very top of the chain, kind of saying grace over the quality assurance stuff bill in the back, he'll be able to look at all the locations, and it's all electronic, and it all kind of just feeds up to you, just state-of-the-art type stuff. And the unmatched response time, I think, is something that we always hear from our clients and our customers. The way, again, with the 164 folks living and breathing and working in your footprint, we can get to you. We can certainly get to you. And I'll touch on the guarantee just real quick in a second. But with that kind of horsepower on the streets, riding around in those trucks, we get you quicker than anybody in the footprint, any of the providers that you could choose. And again, some one-stop shopping. We can handle your termite work. I understand you guys have had a couple of termite situations to where you had to go out and you had to get a quote. And I think we even did one termite job for you because your current vendor wasn't able to provide the termite service. We're a full shop. We can do all the pest control needs that you may have. The next thing I want to share with you is something I think is really important. And I know from doing some of the research on you folks that you're really big on Net Promoter Score. We kind of took that on probably 4 or 5 years ago as a company. And I got to tell you, when we first started, our Net Promoter Scores were down in the 50s. We weren't tickled with them. But as we sit here today and as we talk today, our Net Promoter Score for our commercial customers is up 70%. I'm not going to get into the depth and breadth of what Net Promoter Score is. I know your guys' score, the one I saw on the website, was 78. So you're doing better than us. The only thing I would say is maybe we got a little dip. We can't ever really kind of make people happy. All we can do is make them not yet unhappy. So you got one up on us. You got a better Net Promoter Score, but nobody runs around out there in the pest control industry with the score that approaches the 70 that we're able to deliver to you. So again, you know how that works. Are you likely to recommend? We are 70% of our customers are likely highly going to recommend us. So again, you're familiar with that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. I did want to share it with you because I saw it on one of your documents. So congratulations there. The last thing I'll leave you with is our triple response guarantee. We guarantee that we got a 224 response. We guarantee when you call, you ask for help. In the unlikely event that something goes wrong, you get a flare up of ants, you pick up the phone, you call us, and we will respond to you within 2 hours, and we are contractually guaranteed to be on site within 24 hours. The reimbursement piece of the guarantee is pretty unique. It's pretty cool. I mean, if you get a guest that sees a roach or a rodent or something crazy, something crazy happens in the store, and one of your guests experienced that, we want you to pick up their tab, and we will reimburse that tab, and we will even go so far as to write them a letter and saying, hey, it wasn't Howard's fault. It was our fault. We let them down. Please come back to the store and come back and dine with the folks again on our dime. So that's that piece there. And then quite frankly, here's that ask, that 360-degree satisfaction. We are so confident in the work that our fellows do, that Tim and Chris and Jay and Bob and the guys I showed you in the slide earlier do, that we're willing to do something unheard of in the industry. We're saying, we get that you didn't call us. We understand that you've been happy or not happy, whatever it is. You haven't called us to investigate change in vendors. So there's some level of satisfaction with your current vendor. But what we tell you, change is difficult. When you're talking about 128 restaurants, change is difficult to make a wholesale blanket change, because as you sit there, you think, boy, could it get worse? We're telling you we think it's going to get better. You could be sitting there kind of doubting and saying, well, it's not so bad right now. We don't want it to be not so bad. We want it to be great. And we make you this promise. If you give us a chance and you're not completely satisfied with the service or the results that service renders after 60 days, we're going to do something unheard of in the industry. We will give you, if you give us a chance for 60 days, we'll give you some money back. We'll give you a bunch of free service. But at the end of the day, if we can't make you happy, we will give you the money to bring Ecolab. We'll give you all your money back that you've invested with us. And we will give you the money for the first monthly service to bring Ecolab back into those stores. We're not in the habit of giving away a lot of money, I promise you. So we are going to deliver on our promise. It's just our way of making it easy for you to make that switch. And again, getting back to the switch, it's just a shot. It's just a chance. All we're looking for is an opportunity. You got 128 locations. We'll take on your most troubled locations. We'll take on anything that you want us to take on. We would like just the chance, the opportunity to prove ourselves to the Halrick folks and see if we can build a long-term, long-standing relationship with the people that we've got that live in your market. So that's all we've got for today. We're going to get out of here, let you finish your lunch and get on with your business. Again, from my family to yours, thanks for what you've done in the marketplace. You guys are outstanding community members, and I can't thank you enough. We'd love to play with you. We would love to hang out and maybe do some work with you and show you that we can deliver exceptional, exemplary service. So Brian, let's get out of here, let these folks go. Again, we certainly are very appreciative of the 20 minutes. Thank you very much. So I'm going to unshare my screen here now. Maybe. Okay, I think I'm back here. That's it. It took about 18 minutes when we did it live. I probably went on a little bit longer. I tend to get in front of this camera, sitting here by yourself. You can't get any body language going back and forth. You can't get any nonverbal signs. So it's not the easiest thing to do. But that was really the thrust of it. And you know, all the stuff that's coming back so far is really good. And again, I'll share all that with you. I'll share every solution that anybody put out there with the whole. We'll just put I'll put a long little attachment together for you so you can read through all of them. Some of them are crazy good. Some of the folks were out there using video. You know, Amy down in Texas, you know, shot a video that she married a Pizza Hut guy that, you know, and moved to Texas. And, you know, I think he still works there. He writes their safety protocol. So there's some really cool stuff that you're going to be able to see. But just really good efforts. This one was an interesting case in the fact that they gave us a chance to dance. And you know, I know sharing some stuff back and forth with Jordan over the weekend. He was cheating, by the way, trying to send me text messages looking for input. But but Jordan out in DC was you know, I said, man, I found myself in that spot lots of times. Hey, what do you got? I'll give you 20 minutes. And you just got to do your darndest, you know, background checks that you can do. The advantage that we have today, and that we had 5 years ago, is we've got all these avenues to support these. Again, this was a chance of a lifetime for Brian Clark. You know, at the end of it, you know, he picked up the last $65,000 worth of work last month. It's starting April 1st. We'll be kicking that off, but that account, I think the recurring revenue now is almost $15,000, 12 to $15,000. And he's also picked up like $25,000 in Vital Clean sales. You know, since this pandemic kicked off. So how he's gotten that is just they end up giving him like seven locations. The wine guy gave him 7 locations and said, I'll roll the dice. And then he kind of became the I guess the prophet. And then Brian stayed incredibly close with the point of contact, the gal that is still in charge to this day of the entire chain, and just worked his way, chipping away at it. One group by one group by one group, you know, taking a troubled spot over. But the real difference that gave us the opportunity to win all of them was Brian's attention to detail, checking in with her on a regular basis, and being there at all hours when that phone rang, and you know, just being there. So she had that one single point of contact that she didn't have at Ecolab. You know, she'd get into a phone bank down at Ecolab. Again, some of the differences with Ecolab that you have that you should make sure you're spinning are the fact that, you know, quite frankly, they don't have brick and mortar locations in most areas. They may have some in your area, but they have kind of a spread out network of technicians that don't have that, I guess that branch kind of setup that we have here. And certainly their supervisors aren't nearly as many as ours. And again, you spin just those bodies. When I go to compete against Ecolab, I always look to see if they're using EcoSure, you know, spinning that card, and then always look about response time, asking about response time. Not saying does he show up within 24 hours, just asking the question, how quickly does your Ecolab guy come back if you get a flare up or your turn up? Particularly in some of these areas that we were looking at, some of these more rural areas. You know, you get some places down in West Virginia, and you get some of the places that Halrick has locations. You know, it's not the big city. It's not Cleveland. It's not Akron. That's where Ecolab really struggles responding to requests. So think about that. They're really particularly, they struggle a bit with bed bug. I know getting to places. So keep that in the back of your mind when you're competing against Ecolab. Strong company, but you got to look for chinks in the armor of your competition. And again, if you listen to the way that we presented it, I didn't say a bad word about Ecolab. I just kind of presented how we would do it. You kind of mentioned, we just don't agree with the philosophy of Fox in the hen house. So I'm going on, and it's Sunday night. So let me shut this thing down. I'm gonna save this recording. I'll flip it to YouTube. I'm gonna put it in an unlisted channel, so you'll need to use the link to get in. You won't find it out in YouTube because I don't want it trickling its way back to the Ecolab folks. So again, thanks. Appreciate it. The response was phenomenal. I am a little bit disappointed in the sales managers. I only heard from 4 of them. And so I'll just put that out there and I'll leave you with that. So let me shut this thing down and I thank you.